Hello and welcome back to the Q&A. So before I jump into everyone's questions, I just want to first say that I've got exams coming up. In fact, at the very time that you're watching this, if you've watched it pretty much as it came out, I'll be in the middle of an exam, but the exam will be, wait for it, professional computer practice. Bullshit exam. Total bullshit. But after that, we've got data structures and software engineering, and they're going to be an absolute bucket load of fun. Now, that may affect the video schedule in some way. Perhaps, there'll be just one video a day until that's all done with, but I'll make it work. Right, the schedule's not going to go to shit, and you should get a video every day. Now, let's get into the actual questions, and before I do that, if you do have a question, leave it down in the video comments, and I'll be sure to add it to my list. Anyway, let's read off the first question. It's from Munches, who said, serious question. In your videos, you always seem to be leveling a new character. Well, not always, but quite a bit of the time. How do you not get bored of the leveling experience, doing it over and over again? I don't know. I just don't get bored. Though, look, of the last, bunch of characters that I've got up to level 90, I've got all of them to 60, but one of them was the free boost, and then two of them were the paid boosts. Now you're probably wondering, holy shit, dude, you spend £80 in boosts, and then, of course, well, the other one's covered in my purchase of Warlords. Well, look, I don't have a lot of time, and what I do have, well, I don't have a lot of time, I don't have a lot of money, but I've got a little bit more money than time, so for the sake of being able to do videos in all those different classes, yeah, it made sense. Though I've got enough classes to do me until the summer comes, which, look, it's like in, 2 weeks? In terms of university stuff. Once that happens, I should probably clip this little button. And once that happens, though, I will be leveling up my characters fully the old school way, up to 90, trudging through Pandaria, trudging through the feckin' Cataclysm, but I'll push my way through it. It's weird, I usually get bored of the leveling experience basically at the end of Northrend. I actually kind of enjoy it up until then. But after Northrend, I just feckin' hate it, especially Pandaria. At least Cataclysm goes so fast these days that, like, what, you're going to do half of Mount Hyjal? No, you're going to do Hyjal, then maybe half of Ashir or half of Uldum, and you're done. Because they nerfed the hell out of leveling. That's okay. The rest of it, utter bullshit, unfortunately, especially with Pandaria. But what I think is pretty good about the initial, level up experience is it's just this kind of decent form of abdication. It's relaxing, it doesn't take a lot of mental energy. I can just throw on a podcast or something and level the character up. It's pretty simple. Yeah, though I can definitely see people getting ultra bored of the leveling experience because you're doing a similar thing 10 times in a row. One thing that certainly doesn't help about Pandaria is that the only choice you have is 4 Winds or Karasang Wilds. I think I'd go to 4 Winds every time because I don't enjoy Karasang, but they do funnel you through the same zones all the time in Pandaria, which is really unfortunate. At least in Northrend, you can swap between Borean Tundra and Howling Fjord, which is pretty cool. And plus, I just think Northrend's a flat-out better continent with a better leveling experience. Still though, that's basically how I'm able to stick it. One of the nice things about the Cataclysm revamp, one of the few nice things, I've got mixed feelings about that. Maybe I'll do a video someday. But one of the handy things is that there are, I think per continent, really 3 different ways, each, for leveling a character up. So for an example, I leveled one up in and around the kind of north sections, leveled one up in and around the south, and then kind of one in the middle-ish. I know that sounds weird, but there are some characters I was sort of picking up from level 30, and that meant that I wasn't really doing much zone repetition other than the Blasting Lands, because it's really quick to get your way through there. I'm on your way to level 60, and if you're wondering the reason I do level 60, of course, for the boost, is because I may as well get the fully leveled up blacksmithing and the professions. So yeah, there's that. Okay, next I have a question from Sphinx, who asked why I play female Draenor. I do, but I play 10 characters, which are all different race, class, gender combos, mainly male, 1 or 2 female characters, but the reason why essentially is because I choose a character that looks cool with the class, generally. So my warrior is a night elf because I think they look pretty cool. My monk is a Pandaren, my human is a mage. No, my mage is a human, my paladin is a human, though I suppose paladin dwarves could work as well, but I think some of the paladin gear just looks kind of well in a stocky human, really. What else do I have? got loads of other things. My druid's a Worgen male. I don't really like that though, just because I don't like the Worgen model at all. But yeah, in general, I just choose whatever I think looks cool with the class. And the most recent thing that was leveling up is a priest. And going into the next expansion, I think a Draenei priest makes a lot of sense. You know, lore-wise, and just fits in with the story and that kind of thing. So yeah, that's why I'm doing that. Okay, next we have a question from, who's it from? YZ Frosty, who said, if you could have any race in WoW playable, what would it be? My choice would be the Consortium. Yeah, agreed. I want the Ethereals to be in the game. They could be a neutral race. It'd be really easy to add them. And I just think they're so interesting. They look amazing. I think their movement, like just animations, and then just various attack animations and things like that would look really cool in a player character. And yeah, I just want one. Honestly, I think they could make really interesting racials for them because they've got this like void form as well. Just, Blizzard, give us Consortium. Update the models, give it to players, add at least some more options for customization, and boom, you've got a fantastic class in your or race in your game that is going to work with a lot of classes, and one that I think loads of people will find to be really cool. I guess you probably wouldn't be able to play the light-wielding classes, but or a druid, or maybe you could do a shaman? I mean, if goblins can be shamans, like, I think they nearly barter with the elements or something, so I'm sure the Consortium could be wormed into that. Still, hey, look, I think it would be really cool anyway. Alright, let's have a look at the other questions. Okay, so there's one here from the Lazy Peon who said, do you think Blizzard can implement a better system for Battleground matchmaking? It's annoying when half your team are newly boosted level 90s and you're against fully geared opposition and then you're just farmed on over and over. Could Blizzard use a system that matches teams based on an average item level, perhaps? Good question. Yes, they could. Although they are able to, they know people's stats, so sure, they could match based on a team's average item level. The problem though is queue times. Now, as an Alliance player, my queue times aren't that bad, because there aren't as many Alliance doing PvP, so we are in demand in comparison to the Horde. But from what I can, or at least what I hear about some of the Horde queue times, is that they're pretty bad, and it's definitely a major concern for Blizzard because it impedes people's ability to just have a pick up and play experience with WoW. And because of that, I don't think they're going to do much that would have a negative effect on the game's matchmaking speed. Basically. Though I'll admit, yes, it is kind of annoying when your team is full of boosted level 90s, and yeah, that's just a pain in the ass. No one wants to have a useless team. I think the main thing that they need to do is balance out healers. Maybe if they were just, I don't know, just do something to make it so the teams have got roughly similar amounts of healers. Because if you have one healer and the enemy team has 3, you're boned. If you have 0 and they have 1 or 2, unless people are really on point with nuking down the healer, then you're boned. That's a giant issue. I think healing is one of the largest problems that they face with making balanced battlegrounds, because you just lose off the bat if you don't have one. Just not good at all. Yeah, I guess it's just all comes down to queue times and how willing are they to make them a little bit longer for the sake of making a match a bit better. I guess a lot of people would say, that hey, I'd be okay with a minute longer if I had a higher chance of a balanced match, and I suppose that does make sense, but on a macro scale, I'm not too sure they want to do that. We'll see. We'll see. Hopefully with the way Ashran works, well, like the cross-realm coalescing and all that bullshit, whatever, stuff, tech things, that hopefully with that, they'll be able to just make Ashran more balanced. Hopefully. We don't know exactly, but I'd imagine they could do something there. Hopefully they do. Okay, so next, we have a question from Dennis Valti, I think, who said, hey, I wonder how do you think WoD, wow, I can't even speak, no, he said, I wonder how you think Warlords of Draenor will work out, and do you think it will get the game growing again? A great question, and he also asked why. So yes, I think Warlords of Draenor will make the subscribers boost up, because expansions always do. I don't have the numbers to hand, but I know MoP had a pretty big jump and then a very quick fall off. But generally, an expansion brings back some people. Now, that's good. Warlords of Draenor will do that, but another reason why it's going to bring in people, apart from the fact that it's the new stuff, is it feels in many regards like Blizzard are going back to their basics. They are preening down some of the sort of bullshit class bloat that we've had, And I know a lot of people are saying, oh, this is so unhardcore, removing abilities. Listen, a lot of people harken back and say, oh, Burning Crusade was the most hardcore expansion ever. Guess what? In the Burning Crusade, they had less abilities than we do now. So there is no problem with tuning and toning things down. I mean, look, correlation doesn't equal causation, but if you were to make one of those bullshit graphs, those like subscriber numbers and the amount of buttons per class, whatever, there would be a correlation. Now, I'm not saying that's the reason, actually. In fact, one of the reasons with Mists of Pandaria is, of course, my 10 points that I laid out in that video, which actually did pretty well. It should be about 5k views by the time you see this. But also the amount of class changes that Blizzard made apparently led to sort of subs dropping off. So I think what they're doing with WoD is just, boom, we're making ballsy changes, we're getting rid of all this clutter and bullshit that is basically just not making classes and as fun and sort of, I don't want to say simple, but refined as they kind of may have been in the Burning Crusade. And it's weird, like there's just so much bloat that classes feel like they're blah. That's my only expression. That's what the classes feel like. So they're going to cut that down. It's going to be at a more manageable level. And that gives them a nice just opportunity to, well, basically make sure things are okay. What they've said is that your class will basically play the same in terms of how it feels. And really the only stuff they plan on removing is the kind of cluttery bullshit. And that'll go through many iterations, so don't worry if there's a really key ability that's gone now. Well, look, it's either going to be added back in maybe a different form, or when Warlords comes, it won't be a key ability anymore. I think people have got this really annoying tendency of thinking, oh, they're removing this one ability I use in my rotation, game over, they're breaking my class. And it's like they don't understand that that's going to be in conjunction with 50 other changes, at least. Anyway, so I think the class changes are going to help bring people back. I think rating and all that's still going to be good, but having flex and all these different difficulty levels, it's going to cater to a lot of people. Maybe that won't like specifically bring a lot of people back, but it should give a lot more longevity. If you think of the fact that the most recent earnings report for WoW was like 7.6 million subscribers and only went down 200,000 since patch 5.4, despite the fact there was 8 months of no content, like that's mind-blowing. How the hell they managed that? How the hell? That tier lasted a long time, and in terms of how long people actually enjoyed it for, I know it's getting old now, but I think Flex may be a bit of a sort of helper out in that scenario. In terms of other things, of course, the garrisons are a new feature, their player housing, that's something that everyone gets hyped about when it's an MMO. They're going to come back to try that, or they're going to come in for the first time and try that. The level 90 boost that comes for free with the game is going to get a lot of people in. Just in general, there are so many things that are getting people into the game. Blizzard are making a lot of really ballsy decisions that they need to make. I think it's, player feedback's really useful, but one important thing is you have to understand that what people want isn't what's best for them in many cases. And there's a thing in game design where people know what they like, but they don't know what they really want. People are really great at identifying, hey, I enjoy this thing, but if you ask them why they specifically enjoy it, what tweaks they think would make it better, or various things like that, then you're going to come up with lots of varying answers and things, not necessarily the best. It's just nice that Blizzard have decided to stop pussyfooting around and actually just go and make some solid, ballsy decisions. Removing abilities is a ballsy decision. I'm glad they're making it. Cutting back the LFR gear, ballsy decision. Glad they're making that decision. I think one of the reasons why this game actually had a lot of burnout and some drops in Mists of Pandaria is because the way LFR was tuned. It was tuned so you'd run it for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks straight, every single wing. That was bullshit. That was not good tuning for your content, especially when it's repetitive the same every time. And they don't ask you to go and do like a dungeon every day, like not Mogushan Vaults, Gate of the Setting Sun. They don't ask you to do that nearly daily for 2 or 3 or 4 weeks, do they? That specific one. Okay, raid's a bit longer, but you know what I mean? Repetitive content is the same every time. So the LFR changes should help out a lot. And just overall, I think the game is going to be better at retaining subs, and it's going to get a really big spike of subs as well. Oh, plus no fucking pandas. Look, I think that in some cases they played off the pandas well, in some they really fucked it up, but the good news is we're going back to Warcraft. We've got orcs, and I know we had orcs in 5.4, but we've got orcs, we've got savage orcs, we've got a new world to explore again, we're finally heading off Azeroth again, finally. A lot of BC nostalgia there. A lot of the people who enjoyed the Burning Crusade and maybe just want to see what Draenor was like, they might come back. The game, I think, is going to have a decent enough little spike in subs. I don't know if we'll hit 10 million again, but I think it's definitely going to break 8.5. I'd say, yeah, it could break 8.5 and stay there solidly. At least for the first few patches until the, inevitable drop-off comes. Anyway, so that is it for this video. Now, if you have any questions of your own, just leave them down in the comments. I'll add them to my Word doc of lovely questions and things. And yeah, that's it for the video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.